Hey everybody, it's day 23 and I just spent the day at the Charlottetown Hotel, which is where I still am, and I was at a conference on restorative justice, which was awesome. It was a great day. About 150 people interested in the topic, a lot of justice professionals, a lot of people working in the community. I've been connected to the restorative justice community in PEI and elsewhere for over 20 years now, and it's definitely one of my passions. And one of the things that I would say I'm really wishing I could see more of in PEI, but certainly a lot of the principles of restorative justice I find are part of what I teach and what I do, the skills that I use, whether it's in workplace or doing work in the area of family violence prevention or whatever. For those of you that aren't familiar with restorative justice, the way I often describe it is that in sort of the traditional criminal justice system, the questions we ask might be, sort of what happened, who's responsible, and how will we punish them. And in a restorative process, we look at who was harmed, who's responsible for that harm, and how can we support them to repair that harm. So it looks like a very different sort of system than one that's about punishment, because it really is more about those things that I talk about and I've been talking about for the last 20-some days around relationship, right? So there's a lot of focus on relationship and connection in restorative justice. And so I was kind of interested in just thinking a little bit more about restorative justice in the workplace as well, and just thinking about how I can start incorporating more of that language into what I do. I certainly, like I said, talk a lot about relationship and all the skills. I've facilitated restorative justice for many years, but I don't have as much opportunity to do it in the criminal justice system as I would love. But those same principles, those same skills, that same process that I would use in a criminal setting, I use in workplace or in organizational conflict solving. So, and that main concept, I guess, is that one around good relationships and how good solutions fall from good relationships. So, sometimes we were having a conversation today about, the terminology of restorative and restorative justice. And sometimes we don't want to restore, we want to transform, right? Maybe we don't want to go back to what we had, because maybe what we had was bad and didn't feel good, but more perhaps around transformative justice, and that's definitely part of what I teach. Not part of what I teach, that's what I teach, is how to transform relationships so that you can have good solutions, whether it is workplace or home or in the justice system or whatever. So yeah, it was a good day, and I'll be thinking more about how to incorporate more of that language into what I do. One of the things about restorative justice is so there's a lot of people here that I know, so there's people going to walk by and look at me and I'll be distracted. I'm doing a live video, Lynn. So, one of the things that I think about in terms of restorative justice, and, you might wonder, how do you do restorative justice in the workplace? I think the concepts of restorative justice are absolutely applicable. One of the things that might be, a nuance that may not be as appropriate for workplace is the idea of who was harmed and who was responsible for that harm, and it may be more of a mutual thing in a workplace setting. Certainly, and I've talked about this before in one of my lives in the last couple of weeks, is that idea of around bullying in the workplace. And absolutely, there's times where people are truly using behavior that is bullying, that is sort of, there's a victim offender kind of scenario happening. And certainly in those circumstances in a workplace, I think restorative justice, you could actually just take that right into the workplace setting. But even in cases where there's more mutual harm that's happening, certainly a lot of the concepts would be absolutely applicable. And some of those really are around connection, relationship, and how that transforms the solutions that you come up with. There's another concept in restorative justice that's really important, and that is that concept of reintegration. So a lot of the times when there's conflict or crime or harm, it's not just the person who, in a criminal justice system or setting, it's not just the person who created the harm or who committed the offense that might feel ostracized or removed from community. The victim also often feels that way as well. And I would say that that is absolutely true in a workplace setting, where if something's happening and trust breaks down in a really huge way, where the people involved do feel a little isolated, ostracized. So that concept of reintegrating people back into community is such a huge piece of restorative justice that I think totally translates to workplace. So my course is coming up on Thursday. I'm starting to get lots of registrations. Course is really starting to fill up. If you've been thinking about this course and whether or not it's appropriate for you, and you want to have a chat about whether it's appropriate, you can send me an email. We can figure out if you want to talk or whatever, we can figure that out. Or if you just had some questions, you can email them to me. So you can send me a Facebook message, or you can email me at Kirstin@collaborationschool.com. But you're going to have to figure out how to spell my name to do that. Maybe I'll just tell you. Kirstin is how you spell my name. So you can send me an email and we can check in about whether or not it works. If you're in PEI, there are some funding opportunities that you might be able to access if you're in private business, so I can let you know about those if you have any questions. So thanks everybody, it's Friday, woohoo! I'm gonna say have a good weekend, however, I'm gonna see you tomorrow anyway, so bye.